Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Alright, so this is really exciting. So the Pokemoners are the MVPs. All credits to them. Please follow their Twitter, and also I put their link below in the description for their Twitter feed. However, they're amazing because thanks to them we have the Gen 6 movesets and Buddy Distance Evolution costs inside. Now we have all the data. Basically, we have the data for Gen 6 mons. Now we can actually see to the T just how good these Pokemon might be. So yes, we have the stats thanks to GoHub. However, without movesets, we really can't accurately assess how good Pokemon can be in a meta. Because depending on a moveset, like literally one moveset can change the entire scope of a Pokemon. For example, let's assume that Registeel never had Focus Blast, it wouldn't be as overpowered as it is right now. Registeel would just pure... Focus Blast is so good because fighting has such great coverage against so many typings. If it had Flash Cannon alone with something else, it wouldn't be as impressive as it is. That's why movesets are so important. Without further ado, let's take a look at this pace spin and see exactly how these stats really pan out. Now, these breakdowns are going to be a little long, so I'm going to separate them, and for specific Pokemon, like really good ones that I saw ahead of time, like Aegislash, I'll do separate videos for them, because they're really worth looking into in a deeper manner, and making comparisons. Alright, so since there's a lot of data on this pace spin, this first video is going to feature the starters, because the starters are probably one of the most iconic in every series. Now, as you see here, we have Chespin, Quilladin, and Chestnut. So, with all the data and moves inside the now that we have everything we need, because in order to accurately assess Pokemon, you generally need two things. One is the moves and the stats. Now that we have both, we can go ahead and we can play. So, of course, these are all subject to change, but we can always assume that like most of these are correct, unless there's changes to specific moves in general. For example, how Niantic adds or nerfs a move can really shift the meta. For now, we're just going to assume that everything is the way it is, which shouldn't affect... There's so many moves in Pokemon Go, you never know which one's going to get affected. However, the starters are generally the same, and as you see, they're very powerful they're actually very powerful on their own, but they can be powerful in Go Battle League. So, first off, we have Chespin, Quilladin, and we have Chestnut. So, these mons are very, very interesting, because if you look over here, I have GoHub open. We're going to look at Chespin, so we're going to look at each one. So, Chespin and Quilladin are actually both grass types, while Chestnut and every evolution in Gen 6 has a dual typing. So Chestnut actually has grass and fighting type. Now what's interesting about this, as you see, Chespin has Vine Whip. That makes it really interesting. It's like Bulbasaur because it generates energy quickly, but it has Body Slam. So Chespin for the future might be a good pick for the Little Cup, just because if there's a future one, just because it has Body Slam. Vine Whip, Body Slam, Seed Ball, that's a pretty solid moveset for the Little Cup, as well as decent stats. Like pretty good HP, attacking defense, pretty balanced. So look at it, but that's something good about Chespin. Quilladin's kind of like Grottle, because it has Razor Leaf and Low Kick. Low Kick is a terrible move, but because it has Razor Leaf and Body Slam and Energy Ball, like I said, it's basically like Grottle's twin brother. There's Grottle, here's Grottle, where you at? Grottle right here. You see Grottle has basically the same, like, they almost have similar movesets, except Grottle actually has Bite, which is actually way better than Razor Leaf. Well, not way better, but, like, it has more utility than Low Kick. Low Kick is just a horrifying move. As you see, Grottle's over here. Grottle and Chespin are very similar. However, Quilladin does have a lower maxed out CP, so it might be actually interesting to see in Great League. If you want to use it, that is, because Body Slam and Energy Ball is very spammy. So if it's a Shadow, you can... there can be something worse than Shadow Victory, though. There can. Maybe Shadow Quilladin might be. Okay, I'm not gonna promote that. Anyways, Chestnut is definitely an interesting pick. As it's you have Low Kick, Razor Leaf, Low Kick. Its charge moves are Gyro Ball, Energy Ball, Superpower, and Soul Beam. Now, with Superpower alone, it gets Stab. And Superpower is a very powerful and interesting move. Played in the hands of an expert, it can coldly destroy your opponents, just have you seen in many seasons of Go Battle League, and just across any other battle in general. Superpower gives you a lot of utility, and yes, Chestnut does get Stab. So Chestnut is incredibly powerful. With Frenzy Plant, Chestnut, because as you see, has a very evened out stat pool, it can be really interesting for Go Battle League. Now, one of the things that it has to watch out for is Chestnut is a Grass and Fighting type. Because Chestnut is a Grass and Fighting type, you have to look out for Flyers, because Flyers do 206 points of damage. So as long as you watch out for Flyers, and also Fairies, which are kind of a thing, you can kind of do well. I mean, but it has a great stats, great move pool, and in the future, it might be beastly in Go Battle League. Now, Delphox, Fennekin breaks in. Unfortunately, Fire is a very underwhelming score. Ember didn't live up to the hype, and unfortunately, it wasn't great. Unfortunately, Delphox is the same thing. If you look at Fennekin and Braxton, so Fennekin and Braxton are pure Fire types. Here's Chestnut, Fennekin, Braxton, pure Fire types. And if you go on to Delphox, Delphox is a Fire and Psychic type. Now, the problem with Delphox is that Psychic actually makes it worse. If you look at its moveset for Delphox and Braixen and Fennekin, Ember is a bad move, Scratches are bad moves. Psyshock, Flamethrower, Flame Charge. Psyshock takes a while to get to. Flame Charge is a good move because it boosts, but they take way too long to get to. Without a good fast move to generate energy, Fennekin and Braxton are almost useless. Delphox, unfortunately, fits the same thing. So even if Delphox gets, like, Blast Burn, it's kind of like interesting because it probably won't get anything. So if you look, it's like yeah, if it gets Blast Burn, it's probably going to, it'll look, it's I want to give it a chance, but I don't know if I can, because if you look over there, if you look, it doesn't have a good bait move. So it's really interesting how Delphox works. So yeah, it doesn't have a good bait move. I guess that's the biggest issue. Psychic is a good move because you can lower defense, but if you look at Flame Charge and Flamethrower, like, you don't want double fire on Delphox, and Blast Burn, if it gets that community day, is going to be, like, much better. So, it's it's unfortunate because Delphox, if it had a better fire move, like, not even Incinerate, I think, it could be really good for Go Battle League, but unfortunately, fire is just not great, and with that, like, Psychic weakness, if you look at it right here, you actually are weak to, like, Dark and Ghost, so it's, like, it's really bad. Yeah, and you're still weak to Rock, so it's not like Delphox is going to be able to tank anything, because it has high attack, somewhat decent stamina, and defense. So it's not going to look great for, like, all three leagues either, so it's going to be really interesting. Alright, now we have Froki, Frogadier, and Greninja. Now, the quick analysis about Froki and Frogadier is that both of them are pure water types. As you see, Froki, pure water, Frogadier, pure water. I'm going to go mostly over Greninja because Froki and Frogadier, if you look at their movesets over here, they're not really great. Bubble's just a really bad move. Like, it's not a bad move, but, like, compared to other 3-turn moves, it's probably not the greatest. It's not the greatest. In Bullet Seed and Snarl generate 13 energy, Bubble generates 11 energy. That's a huge difference between either of them. And that's what makes Snarl and Bullet Seed good, is because they generate a lot of energy per shot. Not saying Bubble doesn't, because it's still used for things like Azu, etc. However, Greninja, if you look over here, like their stats, they have high attack, HP, defense. So they don't really live long enough to... They're not, like, super tanky like Azu is. They don't max out near 40 because of their high attack. So because of that, Bubble isn't really good for Frogadier and in Froki, unfortunately. That leads us to Greninja. So, before anyone gets super excited, Greninja, I love it. It's one of the most popular mons in the anime. It's actually super powerful in the regular game series. And Ash Greninja is out there. Second form, second super popular. Water Shuriken is beast. And it's super amazing in the anime. And like I said, for PvP in the main series. Unfortunately for Pokemon Go, Bubbles, it's not great. Unfortunately, because of Bubble, it's kind of bad. Yes, you have Night Slash, and yes, you have Night Slash, because Aerial Ace, Surf, Hydro Pump are bad moves. Hydro Pump's not so much, but we can assume that like with all starters, they're gonna get their Community Day moves, so Greninja's gonna have Hydro Cannon. However, even with Hydro Cannon, the thing about it is for, let's say, Swampert. So for Swampert, it takes 10 moves for you to get to a Hydro Cannon. For a Greninja, because Hydro Cannon is 40 energy, it takes 4 bubbles, so it's 12 turns, which isn't great. So in other words, you can get 1 extra Mud Shot for how much energy it would take for Greninja to get to another Hydro Cannon. So it's just not, it's not fast-paced, it's not very spammy. Night Slash does hurt, especially if you get the proc, however, it's not the greatest thing in the world. Greninja also can get walled by things like Greninja because of its typing for Greninja. Fightings and Charm is so good in this game that because of it, you don't want to put it against Charmers, and fighting types do go to town on Greninja. Even if it's like a pseudo fighting type, it's going to hit Greninja really hard. Because Greninja doesn't have like a high bulky stat in defense like an Azu, for example. So unfortunately, Greninja isn't going to be the most promising thing. Unfortunately, I want to give it more of a chance. Ash Greninja might be good. However, unfortunately, Greninja is just... Until we get a better water move for water, it's not going to be very good. And it has to be something like Mud Shot. That's why Swapper's good, because Swapper has Mud Shots. You can fire Hydro Cannons like another tomorrow. Even though it does have Night Slash with that high attack, it's not going to fare very well in this meta. Yeah, it's not going to fare very well. Just because it doesn't have a lot of bulk, which is a giant problem. You'll see a lot of things still beat Greninja, especially that extra Dark typing for Pokemon Go is just a lot worse than it is. That's why Obstagoon's really good, is because it has counter. Because counter generates energy so quickly and does a decent amount of damage, you can chunk if you have counter and Night Slash. Greninja, because you're only going to fire... For 3 counters, you fire 2 bubbles. So it's just not... Bubble's just not a great move. Yes, you get stabbed, but it's not really... It's, like I said, for damage-wise and etc., just for energy, it's not great. And that's Greninja. Maybe in the future, like I said, it can get something better. For now, it's not. So in summary, the Gen 6 starters can be Chestnut probably has the best, like, I would say, like, chance to be good in the meta. Unfortunately, Delphox and Greninja aren't. So here's a little, just a sneak peek, because I'm not going to go all of them. Just a few notes. It's very exciting that they are out here, but the starters won't be super, like, they won't be really, like, useful until their community moves come out. Because all the community moves are, like, super overpowered. That's why they're really good. Or that's why Charizard and Swampert are really good, because they have Blast Burn and Hydro Cannons, respectively. As you see here, in the One Shield, I put a little like, sneak peek. Here's, because PvPoke already has the new Mons in their database, so this is just a good sneak peek. I also gave them community moves, something you might want to look forward to. As you see, Chestnut, compared to all the other picks, Chestnut does have a lot of great matchups. Greninja does too, actually. So Delphox is probably the one that's going to get shafted the most, but Greninja and Chestnut have the best chance of becoming something worth in this meta. As you see here, because of... They're just really, really good. Especially Chestnut. As you see, Chestnut wrecks a lot of the meta, especially with Superpower and Vine Whip. It charges fast, it hits hard. Greninja barely takes the cake just because of Night Slash. Night Slash is what makes it semi-decent in the meta. So in order of operations of what's really good, Chestnut, Greninja, and Delphox. Of course, this is subject to change if somehow there needs to be a lot of, like... Yeah, something needs to change in order to make Greninja really, really good. Unfortunately, as you see, Chestnut just does a ton of damage to the meta, the current meta. Greninja can as well, as Greninja has some good matchups, but as you see, Delphox just absolutely gets destroyed. And there's a lot of red in Delphox. So for Greninja, I'm not saying don't look forward to Greninja or Greninja, but like it can be good in the future. So I would definitely, once you see Froki, go after one. Always get that good one for PvP, or that might be good for PvP. It doesn't hurt to save it for the future. Once these Pokemon, again, Gen 6 Pokemon will be coming out soon. Once they're actually released, they will be out in the wild. I can only imagine there'll be a big event for them to be in the wild. So anyways, I hope if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll be doing more analysis on the data that we just got from Pokeminers. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'll be doing more specific ones for really exciting mons to look forward to in the future. And I will see you guys on the next video.